Traveling, exploring, and visiting new places is part of who we are as a people. Travel is great for your health. It activates your brain. It boosts your creativity. It reduces stress and supports your mental health. And tourism is great for our economy as well. And today we are talking about tourism here in Hillsboro on our Community Conversations. And joining me are Deanna Palm, who is the president of the Washington County Chamber of Commerce, Dave Parulo, the president of the Washington County Visitors Association, and Angela Gray, who is the general manager for the Aloft Hillsboro Beaverton Hotel. And it is great to have all of you here with us today. And you know, we're all here at the Gordon Faber Recreation Complex, home of the Hillsboro Hops and Ron Tonkin Field, for this discussion, because we know that, you know, sports, athletics, the Hops are an integral part of our tourism. So when we talk about tourism, the Hops are one of the first things that people think about. And so I want to ask each of you, when you have guests from out of town, you know, what is at the top of your list of places to take people to visit? Deanna, we'll start with you.
Absolutely. Well, top of my list is Jackson Bottom Wetlands, which is a 750-acre wetlands facility within the city of Hillsboro boundaries. So it's right here in the city, easy access, beautiful walking trails, an education center, a place where you can view birds. It's great if you're by yourself. It's great if you're with a pal, and it's wonderful if you're with a family. And so top of the list. And then also what I consider to be Hillsboro's hidden gem, which is the Rice Museum of Rocks and Minerals, which is a Smithsonian affiliate, which should tell you what a significant asset it is for us to have. Wonderful facility. You don't have to be a rock hound to find something super cool and interesting about that, but very accessible again. Great again, solo, with a pal, or if you got a big family, and it's a memory maker because if you have children, there's not probably a elementary school child that hasn't been to that facility and got to take home a rock.
Right, and you know, and Jackson Bottom is also a great place for school field trips as well. So, you know, it is something that, you know, if it can hold kids, you know, attention, you know, and interest, it's a great place to visit. And also, you know, both of those sites are, you know, great for year round. Every season has something different to offer and something different to see.
Different birds, right?
Yes, absolutely. Different exhibits. Yeah, good. Dave.
Well, Mary, you're asking me to pick my favorite child, but you know, I'm kind of food-based. And so when we have folks in, we like to have them experience things. So if I'm thinking about Hillsboro, I'm thinking about taking them to the tasting rooms and things of that sort. And the other things that really get me excited are the street activations, the farmers market in front of the Civic Center or at Aranco Station. Love to see the Oregon produce and bounty and things of that sort. Those type of things get me excited. Then I also think about some of the diverse dining options. You know, around the corner of 10th, you know, there's some really interesting walk-up Latin-based food options. It's always food and beverage with me.
Nice. Angela, did they leave you anything?
I think they pretty much covered all of it. I would add live music because it is also very much a part of the area. You get the local feel along with the food and the drinks. So yeah.
Well, and the live music is a perfect segue into what we do with our guests. We love to go take them to our parks, and this coming week is, you know, we start our Showtime at Shoot, our summer concert series, and we'll be there with our out-of-town guests. Last night we were at Tuesday Market, and so you know, when you talk about activating the Avs and, you know, going out in the evenings and just enjoying picnics at our parks, music, entertainment at the end of the day, it really is a wonderful thing to offer out-of-town guests. You know, so that's kind of our perspective as residents, the things that we like to do. What's, you know, the perspective of visitors as they come to Hillsboro? What makes Hillsboro stand out as a destination? Angela?
The wineries, you know, the safety feature. We're growing so rapidly, but we still offer all of that very small town feel. A lot of the visitors come, they feel safe walking to the mall that's right down the road, or leaving their cars parked in the parking. So I think that's what gets them returning and excited about Hillsboro.
Very good, thank you.
we have different types of visitors, so we are a vibrant commerce center. So you think about our major employers, our accessibility through PDX, the ability to get here quickly and safely really supports that. And even some of our businesses really even depend on like our Hillsboro Airport for life support type of things. But then, there's the things to do, the diversity of dining, the ability to go shopping and things of that sort. Lots of different options when they are done with their workday to have some leisure experience. Then the leisure travelers, well, I mean, we can go on and on where we are in Oregon with our accessibility. We're the gateway to Oregon. We're the gateway of folks, and a lot of people choose Hillsboro as their home base when they're here.
Nice. And, we have a little bit of urban, we have a little bit of rural. We also, have some big things like our 4th of July parade and festivals and other things like that. But Deanna, I also know there's one thing that our tourists love, and that is there's no
Sales tax.
No sales tax,
right?
yes.
So shopping, and shopping.
Yeah.
And we have great shopping districts all throughout, whether it's downtown, Tannisbourne, Orinco. All of them hold a little different flavor and types of things that you can purchase. But I think that if you're looking for something very unique Hillsboro, that you go into a shop that's locally owned, and if you're wanting to buy a baseball cap for $20, you're going to pay $20, right? And if you have a larger shopping area that you want to go to as well, that's sales tax free as well. So even if you have a hometown favorite, you can come to Oregon and purchase it. Come to Hillsboro, no sales tax.
And it's really important to add on to what Deanna's talking about is that we know from research from Travel Oregon that visitors, about 10% of their spend is in the retail level. But really, let's think about, we have different types of visitors again. So we have our Washington neighbors to the north that like to come here, and we're accessible to that. And with Canadian travel opening up, I mean, one of the larger things that bring the Canadians here is that tax-friendly environment. And Hillsboro is easy to get to, and has more and more shopping coming, in and around like Tannisbourne comes to the top of my mind. So easy to get to and tax-free shopping.
And, one of the things, Deanna, is you talk about getting something that's unique for Hillsboro. And as I think of so many of the ribbon cuttings that I've been able to participate in, and so many of our retail shops really have that local flavor. And so you can find things online anywhere, but to get something that really reflects Hillsboro and really, connects and brings back those good memories, you find those at our local stores.
Absolutely, and a lot of artisan and those kinds of memorabilia that, just have that piece of Hillsboro you can take back home.
Yeah. Well, we're sitting here at Rontucken Field, and the Hillsboro Hops moved here 10 years ago. So it's hard to believe that 2013 was their first season, and in a blink of an eye, 3 championships, 1 pandemic later, we are here celebrating their 10th year. What kind of impact have you seen, locally, from the Hops since their arrival 10 years ago?
Oh my goodness. They have made such a huge impact on Hillsboro, but also throughout the region. They're a regional draw. It's easily accessible, so it's not hard to get to a game, and they are so community focused. Mm-hmm. So you see them engaging with activities that bring the community in. I'll just reflect on the Hillsboro Hops Juneteenth that they had the other night. Right? They have a parade night. A Pride night coming up. They're looking for ways to engage the community, and they do it in such a very unique way and a very welcoming way. And I think also they're just so philanthropic. They give back to this community that has helped make them successful. They recognize that, and it's meaningful.
Earlier this year, and I don't think people realize when they buy a ticket, for a Hops game, they are also supporting college scholarships. Thousands of dollars were given out this year to deserving high school seniors who are first generation college students, and this helps them get their foot in the door and their and a foot on that rung as they begin to climb that ladder. And then also, they are the Hillsboro Hops, but they have a strong regional presence. Major League Baseball has an initiative, Play Ball Weekend, and that's to help create the next generation of fans and players. And most teams or cities around the United States have one clinic. Hillsboro Hops held 7 around the area, everywhere from Forest Grove out to East Multnomah County. And it was fun seeing the slides and the pictures. I'm not sure who had the bigger smiles, the kids or the players. It really is special, but that just shows that their commitment to serving and their contributions are not just based here in Hillsboro, they are all throughout the region.
I think that's a great point. Having a high A professional baseball league here, the Hops are a draw, and we're really proud of them, and it's things to do, and the community support. They're also our ambassadors. They are going around the Pacific Northwest and into other states playing opponents, but that name Hillsboro is out there. And so that's a great marketing opportunity for Hillsboro to bring awareness. And sports has a unique thing in this moment in time, because it's good news. And we are looking for good news after the couple of years we've had. And it's fun, and it talks about engagement, it talks about community, and it talks about that there's something happening here. And I think they do a great job with it.
Yeah. And Angela, the Aloft has a connection to Hillsboro Hops as well.
Yes, we've definitely seen an increase in overall occupancy, not just at our location, but in hotels all throughout the area. It's it's definitely put us on the map for sure. Hillsboro, our hotels, but Hillsboro specifically, where a lot of more people are hearing about us, coming to visit, and what better way than to come here and go to a game.
And you are the host hotel for the visiting teams, and we know a lot of these kids, young men at the high A level, their families will still come and visit and follow along, and so you also get to host their families.
Their family, correct.
Yeah, which you add to their experience. And so even though those of us that are Hops fans are cheering against their sons, it still makes for a great experience all the way around. And then beyond, what happens here in the stadium, in the baseball stadium, we have the Hillsboro Stadium. And over the years, we have hosted University of Oregon football for one of their spring games. We have Portland State University. We have Portland football and Portland State University men and women soccer. We've had Timbers 2, and we have the Portland State women's softball. And we've also, and this is, again, because it's hard sometimes to get down to Eugene and Corvallis, but we've had the Oregon State Beavers baseball team, the Oregon Ducks baseball team, University of Portland, Seattle University. So, this has become quite a place for collegiate baseball as well as high school. So it really is just a great asset, for our community, great place to come and see, sports that you might not have the time to see otherwise. It's great to have it right here.
And sometimes we don't think about amateur and youth sports, what a contribution it makes to our economy. We have these visiting teams that are using this complex and the nearby complexes. They're staying with our hotel partners. They're going to dinner, and family spend is it's generally not just the child that's playing, but there's usually one or two patients. So you've got a party of 2 or 4 folks. So they're supporting our local businesses.
Yeah.
And then they're coming back with their families, right? Their extended families, and saying, "I went to this really cool place called Hillsboro, and I want to come back," right? Because they were exposed to the great things we have here.
Yeah. Tourism is a first date. We like to say that. Often people come for a business trip, for a sports trip, for a shopping trip. It's a first date of experience something, And so what we're seeing here is a lot of people doing an invitation for us.
So I've lived here in Hillsboro for over 30 years. Dave, you're relatively new. And so, we all make we all draw a first impression. when we arrived. And I know, 30, well, it was probably, over 30 years ago, first time I visited. And I just remember what a quaint downtown, how friendly everybody was. What was it like for you? What did you notice? What did you feel when you first came to Hillsboro a couple of years ago?
I've noticed from Hillsboro and from Oregon, and I'll say this forever, I've been welcomed. It's the collaboration of the Oregonians. It's the welcomeness. That stands out to me. The next thing is the beauty. I mean, we are at the foothills of the coastal range. Clear day, we've got great views. We get to see our beautiful Mount Hood, which I never get tired of seeing. But it's also the surprising diversity that was here. And also the sophistication that Hillsboro particularly has in the tech sector, which I was delighted to see.
Yeah.
It's a great experience.
Nice. Well, Angela, every visitor, experience is unique. Every visitor is unique. And so from the hotel perspective, what are the different reasons and expectations that you're aware of for people coming to Hillsboro? And then, Dave, I think you've got some statistics you can share about, those visitors as well.
With corporate travelers returning in full swing, that's one of the biggest reasons they come. But outside of that, while they're here on business, they do find a lot of fun activities that are within minutes from the area that they can enjoy. So they'll bring their families in on the weekends after their corporate meetings. Just the hospitality in general. I think the welcoming aspect. I operate where I welcome everyone into my hotel like my own home, and I think that everyone in Hillsboro generally are the same. So.
Good.
Yeah. Tourism is strong in Hillsboro, and tourism's coming back. So just to use one sector, the hotel sector, I believe we have 19 hotels in Hillsboro. For the year end 2022, we had like 580,000 guest room nights occupied. Wow. And we know from research from Travel Oregon that usually people are staying about 2 nights, and that's usually the average party size is 2.2 people per room. I don't know who that 0.2 person is, but so just do some multiplication. The top line guest room revenue, I believe, is around $80 million for hotel revenue, and part of that supports Hillsboro with the transient lodging tax, of course. It's been a strong year, and we understanding that 2022 started weak and ended strong. We are almost back to where we were before things started. In 2023, our hotel partners are very bullish, and so are our other hospitality partners.
Good. And I'm just blown away by 560,000, nights, which is, obviously over 500,000, and it's about 1,500 hotel rooms a night, here in Washington County. So that's wonderful. Yeah. Just great. Deanna, we have workers who come here for business, and it's not just, and I think one of the things that's often overlooked, we just finished $1 billion construction project, in high tech. And so while we have travelers who come in for that, we also have construction workers who come in from throughout the United States and stay here for weeks and months at a time, to put things together. And so you're familiar a little bit with that, and as well as the other reasons that people come.
Well, and I think, just as a reminder, I'm a native Oregonian and lived in Western Washington County my entire life. Washington County Chamber is home to the Visitor Information Center for the city of Hillsboro. So we're kind of on the front line. We get to hear what people are experiencing. And, so many times it's wowed. It's so beautiful. It's so green. It's so accessible. This looks like it's been really well planned. All of those things we hear as visitors are coming in and talking with us. And I always thank them, because sometimes I just take it for granted, right? And I'm like, oh, you're right. It is really, you're right. But the park system, all of those, they look around and they say, it's been done right. It's thoughtful, it's contemplated. And folks that are here for, like the construction workers that are here for a length of time, they immerse themselves, right? It's their home now for the next 6 months while they're here for a job. And so they have an opportunity to experience it. And, I've had folks that have said, I'm moving my family here.
Nice. Nice. And one of the things that we also can overlook is just the jobs. And I think of, Top Golf, for instance, which is one of those amenities that people love to go to. And it is so full so much of the time. And I can go there and see former students,
Right.
For whom this is one of their first jobs as they, kind of begin to navigate adulthood, in high school. And so it really is, so our tourism, hospitality industry gives back in other ways as well.
About 4%,
yes.
I'm sorry, about 7% of the Oregon economy is in the tourism business. And I don't have the number for Hillsboro, but Washington County, I think, directly supports, just on that frontline job, about 8,400 full-time jobs.
Wow.
It's something to do, but it's also supporting families.
Well, we love food. We love the drink. And so how important, in people's visits, is that sometimes a focal point? Is that sometimes an afterthought? Is it both? We think of Portland as being, a food oasis, just a great place to go to. But, there's great food options out here in Washington County and specifically in Hillsboro.
I think it speaks to the experience. So I would say both. Whatever activities that they're getting into in the area, definitely try out the food and the drinks, because it is an experience. It provides a local feel and allows them to kind of learn what Hillsboro is all about, right?
Nice.
We're proud of who we are and what we offer, and visitors are looking for things that are unique. You can experience certain things throughout the United States. We're very good at copying things, but they're looking for things that are unique. And we've done a really good job with people that live here to offer diverse dining opportunities, approachable dining opportunities, our own food carts, our own, bricks and sticks destinations. And we're the north end of the Willamette Valley, and I think we have the best wine in Oregon. But I'm biased.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it has to do with the local communities and the food that you experience. That's the flavor, right? And you're looking for some place that you've never been before, that tells you through its food what it's really like, right? And so absolutely, I think it's really important. I think the diversity of Washington County, the most diverse county in the state of Oregon, those are the kind of food options that you can get. I mean, you might have somebody that comes here and looks and they're like, oh my gosh, I haven't had that since I've been home in another country, right? Yeah. And to be able to experience that, that's a memory that they're making. So I think food and drink and all of that local flavor has such an impact.
We have beer that is brewed right here in Hillsboro. We have wine, that is fermented, created right here in Hillsboro. And so really, whether it's the food or the drink, there are just great things to enjoy, great options. And, downtown on 2nd and Main, we have a new building. Well, the old U.S. Bank has been revamped, and
right.
We're gonna, rooftop garden,
yes.
And it'll be the only rooftop garden between Portland and the coast. And recently at Tuesday Night Market, people were looking up there and when is it opening? When is it opening? I mean, people are really excited because it's also the ambiance and the setting, which adds to that food and drink as well.
And the only place you can do it, right? This side of the Portland metropolitan area. So you want to be able to be able to experience that and say, I was there, right?
Yeah. Well, Angela, part of a great guest experience is just the engagement with, the staff at the hotel. And so what do you hear from staff? When people travel here and maybe they're choosing to, as opposed to coming specifically because they have to for work, but, what are you hearing from your guests?
How clean the area is, how beautiful the area is, and the accessibility definitely is what brings them back, because they're here for so many days of the month that sometimes it gets a little tough. So my staff become they build a really great rapport with some of these guests and learn that they really do love being here, and they feel like they're part of their residents here, you know, and I would say just how immaculate our area is in Hillsboro.
Good.
Yeah.
And I think that cleanliness also reflects how safe it is as well.
Absolutely.
You know, I will say personally, you know, there are times late at night after a council meeting, I still feel very safe, and I am safe, you know, walking around downtown in different parts of our city, and I think that that adds to that enjoyment as well. What are the others hearing?
Well, definitely, you know, the park system is great. There's so many different amenities, and it really is just a great place. And safety, I do think, is important across the country, right? And if you have a place that you can say, I felt really safe there, people that they take notice of that. It's important.
You know, there's really a theme about safety and cleanliness, and so I think we're really proud that we're standing as good news with that. I also think that the accessibility is hugely important for Hillsboro. I mean, we are close to PDX. We're easy to get to. We're easy to get to from other parts of Oregon and from other states. But I think that's a uniqueness that we have of our accessibility. And you know, I come back to this first date. You know, we are really proud of being a tech sector, and we're proud of the diversity of our workforce. And what we offer helps retain our workforce, and also makes people want to live here.
You know, one of the things that I hear from folks is that they would like a water park kind of feature, you know, something like that. Are there things that you hear from your guests or from, you know, just through the industry that people would like to have, or that you would like to have maybe here in Hillsboro?
Personally, and also guests' comments, is a venue for a larger gathering of music. So we have artists coming into town, performing here locally, would be a great addition, I think. It would be great for businesses as well. Instead of traveling north or east to the larger venues, I think it would be great to have one here too. Yeah,
great, thanks.
Well, trying to keep up because things are moving and moving fast, so it's really exciting. The one little wish list that we hear from people visiting is that they would really like to have like a destination spa-ish type hotel, a little bit maybe like the Allison that we have in Newburgh, and I think we're getting close to that. We have a hotel that's Japanese based that's we're hoping to have open this summer called Cedar Tree. That offers a really nesting type of opportunity. We've got great hotels, professionally run, very clean, very safe. People are just looking for that little destination hotel. It's the one thing that I hear.
And that also ties in, you know, with, I think we have over 20 Japanese companies here in Hillsboro. So if you're coming, you know, from Japan to do business, you know, to be able to have a hotel that provides a familiar experience, you know, to home is also important too.
Well, I think just, you know, continuing to grow our portfolio of food, wine, and spirits is really going to be important. You know, downtown Hillsboro, you mentioned the old U.S. Bank building and 2 new food options coming there with Grand Central Bakery and Sizzle Pie. So that's really helping downtown to really bolster it and provide, again, even more options. I mean, Grand Central Bakery, you go in, have your pastry in the morning, come back, wonderful pie in the afternoon, right? Great pizza there. So I think it really is, anytime we can expand that portfolio, it's a draw for people, right?
So, you know, tourism is great for our businesses, but how can our businesses also help support tourism? You know, the flip side of that.
Well, I think both our businesses and all of us, you know, my job is to make everyone a tourism champion. So we have 125,000 people that live in Hillsboro. So
110. Yeah, we're getting there.
So it's very Oregonian to be welcoming, but I think maybe the one thing to recommend to any business, and you know, we always talk about this, is we're hosts. And as people visit, you know, engage with them and offer them ideas of things you're proud of, what to do next. And I think that's the little bit that that's the spirit that really makes us unique here.
Very nice. Good.
I think putting yourself in the customer's shoes, so someone from out of town, what would they want? What would you want them to experience, and what would you want them to remember you by? So I'm thinking about strawberries, right? So the Oregon strawberries are, they're number one, they're top. You can't forget them. Once you've had it, that's it. Every other strawberry will pale in comparison. So, if you're a restaurant that can feature strawberries, put that on there. If it's time for a different wonderful fruit or vegetable that's grown in Washington County, make sure that you're able to feature that and call that out and help that become the experience for that visitor.
Very nice.
And in the hospitality, I would welcome each guest individually, provide them with a special, unique experience. Same with my team. I think that all businesses, especially because there's so many that are locally owned, provide that same experience for visitors. So I think that's probably what would continue driving visitors to come to the area.
Nice. So we know that, we will have people from all around who will watch this video. And so if this, or as this draws people to Hillsboro, what's some advice that you might give to somebody who is planning a trip, to here to Hillsboro?
I would say definitely take a look at our parks. We have wonderful, beautiful parks, a lot of them, and each one of them is different. They're all designed to be a part of their own neighborhood and community, and so you're going to find a different flavor and feel for each one of them, different, things to do. And so I would say, take a map and pick out the parks you want to go to explore those, do, 3, 4, 5 in a day. But again, the one thing I'm planning a trip with my husband to go to Montreal, and I showed him the itinerary, and he's like, "Oh, Deanna, don't take the vacation and then come back and need a vacation." So pace yourself as well. Make sure that you can, take in the moment.
Good. Dave, what would you recommend?
I always recommend be curious. Walk down the street and walk through a door that you may not have gone through. It may be a great experience. You may find a new small business, small dining opportunity. Or driving down the street and you see a sign that might be unique. There's like this huge trend right now in the region for these pinball video arcades that are retro, and they're getting national attention, and people are spending afternoons there. So be curious, because you may discover some really cool thing you didn't even know was there.
Nice. Good.
I would recommend them start their day early, because whether you have your day mapped out or not, starting early, there's a huge list of foods to eat, drinks to be had, and places to visit. So definitely start your day early.
Good. And I think what I would contribute would be to remind people to get out and walk. Yeah. Because as you drive through a neighborhood, it's very different than walking through a neighborhood. And you get to hear things and maybe smell aromas and look at vegetation that might be unique to the area. And I love exploring alleys, and we have some great alleys here in Hillsboro. So but just get out and walk, because there is
some locals, right?
Absolutely, and and then you get that opportunity to ask, what would you recommend, and you get to be a little bit more curious. So thank you. This has been so fun, and it really makes me want to block out a week on my calendar, just take a vacation here in Hillsboro. I just want to say thank you so much, and thank you for supporting this industry. Thanks for your your perspective and your insight, and thanks to all of you for joining us. And we hope to see you here in Hillsboro, and when we do, please make sure you say hi, and thank you for joining us on Community Conversations. And until next time, take care of yourself. Thank you.